have another question about the pro-Hamas protests that have been taking place. We've been seeing them across the nation pop up, including in Vancouver, and as you mentioned about the Day of Rage that's planned for today, we also see that more are scheduled, including in Vancouver, with little to no consequence for organizers or attendees. In contrast, as you well know, when everyday Canadians gathered in front of our Parliament to oppose things like vaccine mandates in the Freedom Convoy, the Emergencies Act was invoked to crush their protest as well as to freeze bank accounts, etc. If your party forms government, what will it do to ensure that such an egregious double standard doesn't take place for who has the right to protest in our country?
That's a very good question, an excellent question, in fact. Justin Trudeau's and the NDP's imposition of the Emergencies Act to crush the civil liberties of Canadian citizens was one of the most despicable acts we've seen under his government. I will ensure that never happens again. I will protect people's freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and freedom of expression. We will make Canada the freest country in the world. And at the same time, I will exercise my freedom to condemn anyone who celebrates the murder of little babies, of grandmothers, the rape of mothers that has unfolded in the Middle East because of the evil of Hamas. No Canadian should stand with an evil, sadistic, terrorist death cult like Hamas. People are free to have their own opinions, but I'm free to condemn those opinions as a citizen myself. And we also know that under the law, Hamas is a terrorist enterprise. It's criminal to provide material support to Hamas. So I want to make sure the police enforce the law by investigating and charging anyone who provides money, organization, or other support to help Hamas carry out terrorist attacks against civilians or anyone else. Thank you.
Oh, hi, morning. I'm Nono from the Canadian Press. I have a question. Your deputy leader, Melissa Landsman, referred to a weekend counter-protest at Nathan Phillips Square in Toronto as a protest in support of Hamas, which Canada has listed as a terrorist organization. And she says there is no place for such protests in Canada, and that she would like to see the police enforcement on this. I wonder, do you agree with her, and how would that work? Thank you.
I think all of us were outraged to see celebrations of the evil, sadistic terrorist attacks on Israeli civilians. Common sense conservatives understand that Hamas is a vicious, criminal, terrorist organization, and we must do everything we can to defeat that terrorism and protect Canadians here at home and across the world. And now I should also point out that Hamas has called for a global campaign of terror. I'm encouraged to hear that police across Canada are working to protect the Jewish community against potential terrorist attacks here at home. I am encouraged to hear that there is a strong police presence at Jewish schools, Jewish community centers, and at synagogues. I hope that all police and security forces will be ready and on guard to protect and prevent against terrorist attacks here in Canada. We have to expect the unexpected, and that is why conservatives call for all three levels of government to do everything in their power to prevent a terrorist attack here on Canadian soil. Thank you.
Okay, follow-up question.
Like what you said about the protest, and we are all aware that the France has already imposed a ban on these kind of protests. And do you think Canada should follow the same footsteps? We should do the same.
we, as conservatives, believe in freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, freedom of association. People are free to state their own opinions, even opinions that I find abhorrent. That said, I'm free to state my opinion, which is that Hamas is a sadistic, terrorist death cult, and it must be defeated. And I find it abhorrent that anyone in Canada or anywhere else would show their support for Hamas. I will add, though, it is already a criminal offense to provide material support to a listed terrorist entity. That includes Hamas. So if anybody is found to provide, that's, whether it's a donation or recruitment or coordination or any other material support to Hamas, then the police must enforce the anti-terror laws and arrest them for that criminal code offense. Thank you.
Okay, next question.